Welcome to another lesson, a new English lesson with teacher Danny. So now you can see we have a lot of objects around here. Can you name or identify any of them? Okay, I'm sure that you're gonna identify this is what's up. I'm sure about it. This is a cell phone. We already know that. This looks like an image from a desktop of the computer with a lot of pictures. Probably it will remind you about the Zoom sessions. And here you can see another software, right? Different. Okay. But this one's in this side. What are they? The ones that are here. Well, officially this was one of the first mobile phones in the 80s. These were the type of phones you had. You had to dial your numbers and you can basically only call. It wasn't a smartphone. It was only a mobile phone, a phone you could move. A little bit big, but that was it. Big. Like 20 years or 30 years ago, we had this device called a Viper. So a Viper would be used to send text messages, right? So you could get a small piece of information, like when we write in Twitter or when we write in WhatsApp, you could get a small text with an amount of words in different moments wherever you were. And then here we have a blackboard. This was used to teach in the past, right? You would use chalk and you would write there, right? In a classroom, and it could have legs or not, right? So this is a blackboard, and this is an image of a software called Blackboard that is also used to teach, but that is more modern, right? And this, as you can see, these are used for cameras, right? They are used to expand or make bigger or smaller, depending the case, and clearer the image of what you want to take a picture of. It's called a zoom. So what do they have in common? Well, first we can say that these objects have been around for a while. They are old. Some of them are not used anymore. These ones are newer, right? Are more modern. Well, you have a cell phone, and this is a cell phone. You have text messaging and text messaging. You have an instrument called Blackboard to teach, and this is another software that is an instrument to teach, also called Blackboard. And you have a Zoom here, and then you have the software called Zoom nowadays. So we can see how things were in the past and how things are now. And we're addressing this because we're going to talk about long ago and today. So this is a vocabulary lesson to address these topics. Okay, so here we can see that we have a picture. What do you see in the picture? Well, you can see two people, right? Based on this label, we can say it's a father and a son. They are on the bike and they're moving on the bike. And they are in India, Pradesh, India. He looks happy, right? Look, the child looks very happy. The dad also looks happy. But notice that they have a lot of things in common, but also a lot of things different. Pay attention to the image. Let's look at some information that can help us understand better the image. So on your book, your student's book, you can, if you have the book, you can go to page 58 and you're going to find these two activities. It says look and circle. They are riding to school or to the market. What do you think? Well, they don't seem to be carrying objects or bags to do the supermarket, are they? The boy's holding what? A box or a computer? Looks like it's a computer, right? Yes, it is. So probably they're not going to the market, probably going to school. Look and answer. What makes you think this photo is from the present? Well, you might say that the child with the computer, the type of clothing that the child is using, he's using like a school uniform. So that gives us a little bit of information. What makes you think it's from the past? Probably when you see the boy's father's clothing, you think, well, that seems like it's not very modern. Probably it's old style kind of clothing that they used in India, or better, traditional costumes or traditional clothing that they use there, right? And probably you can see that the father is old, right? Is older than the child, right? The child is much younger. Good. So there we have some ideas. Let's dive into a reading that will help us learn new vocabulary. So we have then and now. Let's see this part first. Life. Pay attention to the images, what the people are doing, where they are, their expressions. Look, they look astonished. They're like in awe, right? And he's describing something very serious. They're focused. Okay, let's read this part. Oh, look. It says make soap, fire, and tell stories. Okay, let's read. Then, life was very different for people all over the world 200 years ago. How did people begin their day? They got up when the sun came up. There were no electric lights, so people did their chores during the day. Their chores were different too. To get hot water, for example, people had to make a fire. Families had to learn how to make soap and grow their own vegetables. They made their own clothes too. And of course, people had to wash dishes by hand because there were no machines, right? Still, we do that here in Guatemala in some cases, right? We wash the dishes with our hands. So there are a lot of interesting facts here, right, about things they did. Imagine you didn't have a supermarket to go and buy a Dove soap, or I don't know what brand you use of soap, but you didn't have it, so you had to make your own soap to wash yourself, right? To take a shower, for example, or wash your hands. So it was very different, right? Very different. Okay. Now let's go to the other side, right? Oh, notice that the boy is doing chores at home, right? And helping out. Now, today, most people in the world have electric lights and cell phones. People still have to do chores, but in their free time, they can watch TV, make calls, and play video games. Of course, not everybody lives this way. Many families don't like to spend a lot of time in front of the computer or TV. They prefer to go hiking or go on picnics. At home, they like to talk, tell stories, and play card games with their friends and family. What about you? Interesting, right? We have the image of the dishwasher here that made washing the dishes much easier. Here we can see the plug into the electric lights, because in the past you had to light a fire like we read in the other one. Notice that this child is doing his own doll or a doll to play. Well, nowadays we have different games, and the girl here is playing a video game, right? Okay, so then and now. Now let's pay attention to the words that are in bold white. We have begin, begin their day. Okay, how did people begin their day? How they start their day? Electric lights, because you have different type of lights, and we're talking about electric, produced by electricity. Chores, right? Different responsibilities or activities you had during the day to help at home. Make a fire, because you had to produce it from scratch. It didn't exist. You didn't have a match to turn on, right? Like when you are in the stove or turn on your stove and it would work. No, you didn't have that. They had to learn. They would obtain a new skill by observing, by doing things. They also had schools. And wash, right? The action of cleaning something. Wash, in this case, the dishes. Then here we have cell phones. We all know what a cell phone is, a mobile phone, right? And we also have tell. In this case, tell stories. We were talking about how people in the past used to tell stories, right? To narrate, to share things. Even though now, maybe Facebook and sometimes, I don't know, there are different ways to share stories, right? You can share stories or what's happening to you in Twitter and WhatsApp. You can be using this new app that the children are using for sharing videos in this moment. I don't remember the name. It's TikTok, right? So they tell stories or they do activities during the days to share what they're doing, right? To share their own story or what they do. But it's different from the past where you were present and around the fire, right? Telling stories. Usually ghost stories. Okay, so here we have a road, right? A long road, and it says start. So let's say that this point is the beginning. So here it's where you begin, right? So let's read the sentence. I begin a race. It's a synonym of I start a race. Look, here we have some bulbs. And what do they represent? Obviously, electric lights. So we use electric lights, right? Good. Look at the kid. It looks like he's watering the plants at home. So chores, right? I do my chores in the afternoon. We have different chores for different moments of the day, right? But maybe organizing your bedroom, doing your bed, cleaning your desk where you work. Maybe you have to give food or water to your dog. I don't know. Different things, right? So those are your chores. Here we have a piece of art, right, that someone is doing. So it says make, right? You make something. You produce something from scratch. Make, it means that it didn't exist and you make it exist. While do is more referring to activities that you get to produce, right? I make a handcraft, right? This is a handcraft. This is something made by hand that is new and different. Look, here we have a fire. So we eat marshmallows around the fire. I don't know if you tasted them, but when you have a fire, a bonfire, or any type of fire, and you get a stick and some marshmallows, and you heat a little bit the marshmallows, they taste very good. Just don't get them on fire, right? But they taste very good. Good, this kid is reading, and a lot of ideas are coming into his head. New ideas, probably. So he is in the action of learning something, right? He learns. So books help me learn new things, like in the case of this example. It could be ebooks also, right? Or videos. They also make me learn new things. Good, look at this picture. Wow, this painting is showing them these women washing, right? And they are washing clothes, right? So people usually wash their clothes in a river in the past. Can you imagine that? Going to a river to wash your clothes? Yeah, that's how they did it. Moms would go out, or the people that had to wash their clothes, they would go to the river. It was a place to socialize a little bit, also, right? Here we have another picture. You know what this is? Obviously, a cell phone. Yes. I take pictures with my cell phone. Good. Look, this other painting is very interesting. You can see there's a grandma, grandfather too, and you can see the children are paying attention to the grandfather. A girl from the home, probably, or maybe the mom, is doing chores, and you see the grandfather telling stories, right? He's telling stories, right? Tell. So grandparents have a lot of stories to tell. Don't forget to ask them because they have a lot of experiences. Funny ones too, interesting, and even scary ones. Okay, so guess what's the object or idea? So I'm going to give you a phrase and you have to identify which vocabulary word it is. So you do this to inform someone about something. You tell. That's correct. You tell. When you start something, you can say that you begin. That's correct. To clean something with water, usually a piece of clothing. How is this called? I believe this is called to wash. That's correct. A device we use to communicate nowadays. That's very easy. Cell phones, right? Cell phones. The activities at home with my things and the ones of my family that I am responsible for. So you can think of a lot of things. So basically, these activities are called as a group chores, right? To produce something that did not exist with your own hands, did not exist with your own, and you produce it with your own hands. So this one is make. To have an experience that makes you change something you had in your mind or something you do. Learn, right? So to have an experience, a new experience that is making you do something new or learn something new, right? Or obtain something new. Something you need to heat your food. Well, nowadays we use microwaves, but in the past, fire, right? Fire. We always need fire at home in one way or the other, or at least we need to heat. What makes your computer and cell phone work? Electric light. That's correct. Okay, so thank you very much for watching this video. I hope this is helping you a lot. Don't forget to give me a like in the video. Thank you very much. Bye.